How's everyone today?
Good.
Good.
Growing. You don't want to be here, but I'm happy, so happy to be here. So today I'm going to talk about South Korea. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably know just a little bit of South Korea. Can anyone, I don't know, give me some information, give you some information about what you know about South Korea?
Kia.
Okay, it's Kia companies.
Hyundai.
Okay,
Wasn't their president just in like a cult?
Yes. We'll talk good, which now we'll be talking about it. Anything else?
It's much more capitalist than, or is capitalist compared to North Korea.
Yeah. So today I will be talking about South Korea, which is entitled "The Struggle for Democracy and Freedom." So what that is actually I'll take you all the way back from the 1900s, and from how they actually started from, from the poorest country, and then all the way up to where it's right now, to the world's economic powerhouse. And so today, but before we begin, these are some of the world rankings for South Korea where they stand. You probably know they're the world's largest shipbuilding industry. Of course, they've been known for that, and of course, this is kind of surprising to me, but they're actually the number 3 study abroad in the U.S. Like approximately 66,000 South Korean students are actually here in the United States. So obviously, that's a great achievement for them, of course, and we already know they're the best education system in the world. Sadly, we're stuck, obviously, but we could improve on it. And obviously, they actually, originally their rankings was 13th largest economy, and they actually boosted up to 11 now. So they're almost getting it there, but we're still the best out there in the world. So obviously, what it is, South Korea background is Seoul, of course, your capital. Their literacy rate is about 97.9%, and their population is about 51 million as of today right now. Of course, you know that South Korea has been one of the world's leading capital for plastic surgery out there. And of course, they have been known for suicide, divorce rate highest out there, and of course, they have been known for blind dates. So if you don't have a date with you, and obviously one of your parents say, "Look, Mom, obviously I need a date," and obviously, well, there you go, obviously, I give you a blind date, so they've been known for that. So, and you already know they're obviously the biggest K-pop, and you already know that. So I already taught you about what we're going to cover about. So let's go all the way back from the 1900s, how South Korea, or both Koreas actually got into position as of today. So originally, obviously, during the 1900s, of course, Korea was trying to figure out how they're going to, modernize their economy and how they're going to modernize their sovereign independent nations. Well, at the time they were struggling. Japan was trying to force them to sign a treaty, of course, and then ultimately led them to become a protectorate of Japan began on August of 29, 1910. They lost their independence, unfortunately, and they became an annexation by Japan. And unfortunately, that ended in 1945 when the U.S. actually dropped in 2 atomic bombs in Japan, and then this is where the divisions started at the Potsdam Conference, and then went through several meetings of USSR and U.S. trying to figure out what they're going to do with these two Koreas. Are they going to obviously put them in a communist, or are they going to put them in a capitalist or democratic country? But because they were unable to make an agreement, they decided, well, let's just split these two. So obviously that began. Obviously both sides of the forces started to withdraw from both Koreas, and then 2 Koreas have been established by one communist nation and one democratic nation, the DPRK Republic of Korea. And then obviously, of course, the Korean War started to begin. Of course, that's how, and then it's becoming a big problem. And then you already, I'm pretty sure you did not forget about what the Korean War was about. But if you've forgotten, so actually North Korea invaded to South Korea, and then it started to attack there, and then they almost took the majority of parts of Korea, but then they didn't took part of that Busan area, and then as the U.S. started to come in, like the Parkers, started to save their lives, started to come into the Incheon area, and then push them back to the north, and then obviously China started to invade and intervene their wars, and then it's actually split up as of today. What's that phrase over there? Of course, this president, he was the founding father here. President Lee was the founding father. Of course, he's really highly educated. He was educated here in the United States, of course. Of course, he was the first president to actually marry a foreign, known as Francesca Don. Looks like she's from Italy at the time. What he's known for, he actually just, you know him as the founding father of South Korea. He adopted the constitution. He also was the guy who actually persuaded to the international community at the time was trying to make Korea as the one sovereign nation, and he attended numerous amount of conferences. He attended UN conference, he attended the Hague conference. He did everything he can to try to make Korea as a sovereign nation, but that didn't happen. He, obviously, none of the international community listened to him, and so it ended up being a really, I don't know, sadly, but then they picked it up again as soon as he became established the South Korean government as a democratic nation. And now, so it all became an April 19th revolution. What this revolution is about is basically several factors. One, there was a rigged election system was going on at the time when Sun Ma-ri was starting to run for fourth presidential term. At this time, Constitution was still continue to improve itself. They're trying to add to the Constitution at the time. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to move forward, and so on and so forth. And obviously, for some reason, this time the technology was not developed much further as it was, and then for some reason, so here's an example. So if you voted at this time, you're supposed to be like, I don't know, they went through a ballot, whatever it is, and you write to check on the name of the system saying that I vote for this particular candidate. It's supposed to count 1, but for some reason, it ended up counting 4, quadrupling the total amounts, and then obviously totally rigged the system. So I was just like wondering, how did this happen, you know? So obviously all of this began, and obviously there was a burning ballot boxes and saying that this is all total unfair, this is all rigged system, and you know, ultimately still, Sun Ma-ri actually ultimately wins the election without any type of opposition out there. And obviously they said, we're gonna nullify this election because it's so unfair and this is not what it meant to be, and obviously, of course, this is the beginning of how Koreans start to realize that this is what democracy is all about. And but obviously what they mean by that is by participating and contributing to making democracy, that Korean democracy is for them, no one else. So it's basic concept of self-reliance. We should not obviously rely on other countries to do it for us. We should obviously do it for the people of the Korea. So then obviously this guy came into power, of course, President Park, the most controversial leader of all the time. He obviously run for 4 times already. He's been the longest leader, probably 17 years. The only thing you to know him is obviously he was the Lieutenant General Army, of course, and he actually led the destruction period at the time, and then he also led to a widespread human rights abuse at the time, of course. So obviously, he obviously led to military coup d'etat at the time. The reason is because, you know, at that time the economy was not modernized like faster than it was supposed to be. He obviously, when he came in, he established the National Supreme Council, which obviously established a own government, and then he obviously initiated these several different types of emergency decrees. So all of these are related to human rights abuse. They're saying all of these people who are obviously in political opposition towards him or in political dissent, you will obviously get arrested. That includes if you spoke out against the government, or if you say anything written or oral or anything spoken against him, you will get arrested. You also will probably be 12 years in jail for that if you spoke against his government. And of course, funny thing is that Emergency Decree 3 is not kind of a bad thing, but it actually ended up being cut or exempted taxes for low-income earners. Not a human rights abuse, but he obviously also shut down several Korean universities at the time, which I'm not sure why, but he obviously said, well, if you're a university, pretty much, I'm assuming you're participating in political participation, like, you know, political clubs or anything like that. And honestly, of course, all of this, the reason why